Well, what's your favorite TV show right now? What are you watching the most?
Probably Westworld.
All right. Well, the finale's tonight, but
I'm back. I don't think I've seen 2 episodes back, so no spoilers.
yeah. Well, okay, no spoilers.
Don't say your groans are spoilers.
Everybody promise. Well, let's not talk about Westworld at all tonight. Please welcome our first guest, Ptolemy
Slokum
from Westworld.
Sylvester, the tech guy from Westworld. He's the nerd that you tried to kill, but you can't kill a nerd like Sylvester.
That's so easy. Hi, everybody.
Probably second to the British writer character, the least liked character
So far,
Like,
so
I
I've
mean-
noticed. I do feel like I am slightly more palpable than he. I shouldn't start with that. Yeah, at least to my wife. My wife likes me slightly better than him.
How did you? I think everybody's. I mean, this is like probably this is the show that everybody's watching, at least in LA. Like, and so you're. This is brand new. Like we had Grey Worm from Game of Thrones on it. And I was on a yacht with Game of Thrones people, and all I can think to ask them is, what does it feel like to be part of this thing? But the answer is never satisfying. But why don't you take a shot?
All right. Well, it's a great lead-in. Yeah, it is interesting. About 6 weeks ago, I was standing back where those guys are. I see you by the bathroom because I had to walk past you. And so this is like, 6 weeks later, my life is about 30 yards different, but it's a big 30 yards, and it feels.
You mean you were standing back there? You mean you were just some regular Joe watching the show?
Yeah.
And now you're up here with in the limelight,
Right.
Yes.
but also you're on Westworld, which is more important.
Yeah.
Like you're measuring what it's like to go from not being on Westworld to being on Westworld by you're using the yardstick you're using is my shitty show.
I feel like that's what I thought that was your setup. For like, how is life different for you in terms of like being on the show? But if you want to talk about the experience of shooting that show, it was fascinating.
Well, I want to talk.
And that was like 2 years of fascinating because it took 2 years to shoot one season.
Right, there's a question right there. So we have to go back all the way 2 years ago to what I think what a lot of us would like to hear is like you going from being a guy who has not been cast on Westworld to like what's the, because there's got to be some little breathtaking banana peel stoplight if this had happened differently story about you getting the role, right?
I mean, yeah, you're looking at that moment, the fact that I'm even here at all, because we just as actors attempt to do that constantly. So this was very normal audition, one audition, no callback, walked into the room. I don't think they had even done an audition for this guy, Sylvester. No one understood the script. It was weird comments about like MSRA and like this abdomen. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? They didn't even know how to run the audition. I was in there. I was like, I think when I was reading it, it was like maybe this guy's like has his hands inside someone. And so I don't even think they had ever done one of those. Never did a callback. Didn't know that much about the show, and I was just trying to get a job.
Right. And what was your relationship with the property? Were you a fan of the movie?
I knew the movie. I still haven't seen the second. I really want to see the sequel.
Future World?
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Future World is even more 70s than Westworld.
Yeah.
Like, the 70s had third act problems.
Yes.
Until Jaws, at which point all movies stopped having third act problems, but began to have the unified third act problem of all ripping off Jaws for, it's like we all learned how to end a movie.
Right. But then it was like a shackle. Like that was, because it was successful, it's almost everything has to repeat that.
Yeah, now there's
and
such
it's
a thing
almost as bad as when that law wasn't
every
there.
movie after Jaws, every movie ends with a blown up shark.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Essentially, I mean, or a
But
saved
it did
cat.
build the shark industry in Hollywood, and those people have jobs.
It was because before that, the 70s was like you know, you were watching a movie and it was like, oh, Gene Hackman might just run off screen and there's a gunshot and a cat meows and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, they didn't have any rules like that. And Westworld's a great example. I love the setup of Westworld. It starts at that airport, if you remember, and it's a really cool setup, very elegant, very efficient. And then starting in like basically the third act, they didn't attempt anything.
Right.
They didn't have any plan.
Right.
It was just this guy starts running,
Right.
he never stops,
Right.
and it's just one long chase scene. It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
But it's that they could do that, and I actually kind of prefer it.
I mean, I guess because it's like what? Yeah, how should? Because the thing that you have to gain from an era where nobody really knows how to end a movie is that every once in a while, I mean, you're sitting there, you're on the edge of your seat. Like, because you don't know, you're in the hands of a lunatic. Like,
Right.
you're like, I don't know. Like he could just like Easy Rider just ends with fucking It's just like get your motor running, hey, and then it just like credits.
Yeah, even that the cemetery scene in Easy Rider. Like, should I have gone on this ride with them?
Are you? Yeah, did you break the movie?
Yeah,
Dennis Hopper. Like,
but the potential that is waiting for you at the end of this film is pretty exciting.
Yeah,
and that's
because
kind of
that
gone.
makes you care about the characters. Because if you were in real life, were running from Yul Brynner, who was programmed to kill you, or rather programmed to not kill you, and had decided to not be programmed that way anymore.
Right.
Like, if you were having that experience, you should feel unlike the way you feel when you're watching Jaws. You should feel like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
How do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Can I just play dead? The other thing about the 70s movies is like, I watched the Westworld movie in preparation for the series, and then I also watched Logan's Run, and it's like it's amazing how flimsy the evil is, like how easy it is to take down. In Logan's Run, he comes back from the lack of sanctuary. The computer that runs all of dystopian life asks him, where's sanctuary? He says there isn't one. It says, bullshit, I'm going to read your mind. And his mind says there's no sanctuary. And the computer explodes. and with it, and the shopping mall they live in starts falling apart. And all of the people in pantyhose have to run out. And they see an old man and touch his beard, and it's over. But because it's like it was that easy back then to foil an oligarchic technocratic Hydra.
Yeah. So going back to this show,
No.
because I did realize I might have.
So you did this audition, which it sounds like it was in a casting director's office.
Yeah.
And you booked it off of one read? That was it?
One read, no callback, no idea about anything.
Hired. Fucking done.
Just hired.
That's the best.
Clearly, and I'm used to this, not gonna go anywhere or be anything. That was just my mentality, and it was basically like 4 lines in a pilot, and I did know that people were in it, but I just didn't know what to expect.
So cool though. How much of your day when you're on the set for you is spent looking at naked actors in a chair?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
like because they are all, not just the chairs. Everyone laying down, unless they have their legs cut off, is a real person.
Really?
So they're all like fully naked with scars. It is a real fascinating emotional cocktail to see an attractive naked person that is gashed open, because you're like, want to help them and also aroused by it. It's like it's difficult.
This segment brought to you by Eddie World. Eddie World, where the customer probably has a child still.
The other thing is that I didn't have my glasses on, and it's real offensive to me how hard it is to tell a male from a female laying down like 10 feet away if your glasses are not on. I was offended by, once they like sat up, I was like, no!
I think we're offended by your adherence to a binary heteronormative.
Okay.
dichotomous.
You want to cash in on that one? All right.
God damn it, the shit. Oh, okay, come on, tell the truth. Some of that shit's from Game of Thrones sets. Like I
don't know.
There was like sets in there where I'm like, come on, or Cody was really the one that put it out. She's like, come on, that's a Game of Thrones set. Like they're taking like curtains and stuff, and then the heads on the wall, it
does look like that. No,
but HBO wouldn't have those laying around.
No, that's all in England.
Works.
I think those sets are. No, this is all up in about 30 minutes north of here, kind of parallel to where Six Flags is. But they do have old like tanks laying around from other productions and some like original Mad Maxy kind of little cars that were like welded on one of those like motorcycles, like old stuff. So there is stuff laying around, but all that I don't think they duplicated anything.
So do you have viewing parties?
No.
Are you married? Are you in a relationship?
I'm married. Yeah.
To what gender person?
To a wife. Yeah. I'm married to a wife.
A lady wife or a
lady
man
wife? It is from 10 feet away. You don't no.
Yeah. Do you know?
I know who she is.
I saw your wife laying on a metal slab, and I really couldn't tell if she was a dude or not.
Is she? What is she?
Not going to react to that. I'm just gonna. It didn't pass me by. Like I'm still talking about it.
It's not the world's best kept secret that your wife likes to lay naked on slabs.
That you followed it up with a second one. I tried not to react to the first one.
She's known as slab lady.
So none of those are like
son of a bitch.
There are people. Like sometimes I see. I think that's a real doll or something like in the background. They never use like fake like.
They
people.
did if they're like bodies were cut up, but they were like real.
Or
people.
if they're just like sitting in a chair.
No, those are real people.
Really?
For
How
the
are they
most
holding
part.
that still?
Well, two things. One of them was my a dude I grew up with in Lodi, California. This small town. We grew up like 3 houses down from each other, and our families were like sister families. You know how like once a week you have dinner with them?
Uh-huh.
This dude named Craig
comes in at night.
Right?
And touches everyone's muscles with a special acid.
Yes. They put the shots under a pillow. He was working on the show. Which is crazy because we grew up like next to each other.
He was one of the naked like.
No, he does post, but what he does is he'll take a frame and if it is like still, but you know there is somebody that's going through and like stilling images because people can't be that still.
Oh, so easily just like split screen, like doing.
It's
little
not
junk
split screen. It'll be like a frame. So if there is like there.
That's often how we would get it to look like Chevy Chase knew all his lines.
Yeah.
Like we would do liquid morph for like you see those 2 shots of him next to Donald Glover. It's like see if there's a clock in the background of Chevy's lines because that fucking thing's gonna go freak now.
So some guy, some extra in the background, his hot dog keeps changing sizes. The candles are all different.
We wish him the best. He's in recovery right now.
Can we go back, Ptolemy? Ptolemy Slokum, first of all, is a fantastic name.
Yeah, I said, is it Ptolemy? And you said that's the correct pronunciation, but it's not the American pronunciation.
Yeah, more English would be Ptolemy. Greek would be Ptolemy. They actually pronounce the P. Ptolemy.
They put the P in there.
Yeah.
You said you were born in Kenya.
I was born in Kenya. So I was born on the eclipse of the moon, which is the story I was told, but then I went to an astrologer and I was born like 2 days after the eclipse of the moon.
Now, who notices when the moon is eclipsed?
Well, my parents.
What eclipse is it? The sun?
No, the Earth eclipses anything, right?
I don't know.
No, the moon can eclipse the sun, and the Earth can eclipse both.
Like the reason why you don't see the moon all the time is because of the shadow of the Earth. What kind of show is
blowing
this?
my mind.
It was a full eclipse of the moon, which aren't that rare. And then Ptolemy was a Greek astronomer. Claudius Ptolemaeus was a Greek astronomer, lived in Egypt. Alexander, when the Greek Empire owned Egypt.
Right.
And he proved
that was the family that Cleopatra descended from.
No, the different guy, similar era.
Okay.
Were your parents? Why so
stoned?
Weird? Why were they in Kenya, and why are they naming you that, and what's with them?
This
By the way, I'm a bad interviewer.
Well, You haven't attacked my wife. And I've gotten over it. I'm not thinking about it anymore.
I don't think I attacked you so much.
You called her a slab woman. Pretty sure you called her a slab woman.
I said people call her slab lady. I never said that at all. I simply am a journalist, sir.
Well, and for my part, I've gotten over it. It's an interesting story, and I don't know how far to go into it, but it's dark.
Really?
Yeah.
Your parents having you is the story's dark?
That story is much darker than I knew, and I found out about it recently.
Really?
Yeah. So how much time do you want to commit to this thing?
Well, we've got other people to meet. Okay. But let's
I'll try to do the fast version. The story that I was told was that he worked for an American. I should not be telling this story. This is not going well already. So the story I was told as a child and growing up was that he was building a fertilizer plant for the Kenyan government. There was an American company building a fertilizer plant for the Kenyan government. It didn't go well, and so we got extradited out of the country. And they're like, the Kenyan government is horrible, and they threatened our lives a couple times. And eventually, we escaped and got out. Went to Cincinnati, at which point my parents' relationship fell apart, and because it was so stressful to get out of Kenya. Then
it's one of those couples that's going to blame the Kenyan government hating them on not working it out.
So I have to tell this difficult story, but also you're going to attack me along the way. Okay, all right, okay. I just didn't know.
If we do attack anything, we'll just put a wound in its head and strip it naked so that you can derive sexual pleasure from it.
That is literally my nightmare. I hope I end up naked on this show because I've earned it.
That was my Westworld theory, by the way, was that the show is taking place in the year. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
The show's taking place in the year 7000, and all of the robots. There are no humans left, and all of the robots go to Westworld as a kind of mecca where they can experience a Buddhistic reincarnation process where you can become you rise up through the Rosencrantzes and the Guildensterns to the Maves to the Anthony Hopkinses to the and then cycle back through. That it's just sort of because they've lost all contact with their human roots and they go there to just sort of revive themselves spiritually. It's like their Wailing Wall or their anyways. But
so basically, on that theory, someone like Maeve is actually attending the park.
That you would eventually see that Maeve was also that she'd be in that photo with Anthony Hopkins when they're starting Westworld or something, that she'd be in the background with a lab coat on or something, and that you'd be a bartender, and that you'd go, oh, that's pointless.
What is the deal with the English guy, with the British overacting screamy guy?
I didn't meet him.
Wait,
what do you mean?
Is he in a different show? Does he know that he's not, that he's also in the same show as everybody else?
Pretty sure. I mean, I didn't know he was even on. I only read my scenes.
Right.
I know nothing about.
They probably shot you out in an hour. All of your scenes are in one room in UTA's basement.
Yeah.
It's just.
No. It took the full 2 years. Yep. So technically,
I didn't mean to impugn your craft.
No, logistically, I give you credit. Logistically,
same
it could have happened that way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all the time that I wasted because had you been shooting the show, it would have been much more efficient.
Now, did you
I'm
ever
known for my efficiency?
Did you ever have to interact? Because I think the most fascinating part of that show is when they're just walking that bison around in that glass room.
It's the funniest thing that keeps coming.
They're walking, just showing the bison how to walk around.
They've mastered post-singularity nanotechnological life creation, but you gotta. It's well known. You gotta prime that bison. You gotta. if it doesn't, but the coolest thing though, is that when Maeve was walking through. No spoilers here if you're listening. I don't think, but walking through, and then there's in those rooms, the poker game guys, and then they all draw guns, and then the technician goes all right, back to one or whatever, and they all pick up their cards. And so I thought that shit was it's a cool show. We like it.
I do wish there was a slower version of that show.
Here's my thing. I
would watch 10 episodes where there is no plot and just show us like some dude getting off a train and like getting on a horse and riding in one direction and just see what happens.
It's called Love Boat meets Downton Abbey meets Deadwood. It's just like there's guest stars and you see it's like you don't have to do the serialized like oh shit this whole park's going crazy like
it is Love Boat, that's right. It's
or
it's Fantasy Island.
They could just do that. Just
I think before the show came out, they thought that's what it was going to be. Like people were like, oh, so each episode someone new comes.
Oh, Tattoo! Here comes Bill Gates. He's a philanthropist. His fantasy is to be a gunslinger. Boss, isn't that everybody? Yes, Tattoo, but Bill Gates wants to sling guns in a way that breaks his heart.
I think you're tampering with magic that you don't understand, Buzz.
That's okay. Apparently, I'm God. We all learn in season 3. There was this show called Fantasy Island that we've talked about with Paul F. Tompkins.
Dick Train! Good
night, everybody. To train, yeah. No, but I really, that was my fantasy Westworld. I'm not knocking this one. The serialized story is fascinating, but the idea that there would be an upstairs, downstairs, like Downton Abbey, but that the servants were the gods lived in the underworld, and they were these polyamorous, asexual, they were so fucked up, like what you're saying, like they're looking at that you come to Westworld to fuck and murder in a simulation, and these people like designed the things and send them back up, and like how fucked up would they be as people, like their culture and stuff, and it
turned out a lot like that British guy on the show.
Could there be a character that just comes in like just wants to open up a little mercantile store? Like I want to become a blacksmith. I really want to get into blacksmithing.
I definitely don't feel like I would do a lot of...
Here's one thought that I've had that I haven't shared. I probably shouldn't, but I do think there are a couple people probably that would go to the park, pay to go to the park, and then try to convince people that were visiting that they are robots.
Right? No, of course.
And have sex with people like as almost like a servant, just to want to feel what that's like to like go through it, because people are that fucked up.
Of course they are. Go to any Ren fair. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Like the people that aren't getting paid that are walking around going, hello, governor, and you're like, your dream is to like this guy's making $5 an hour and he hates doing it. You want to do it for free. Yeah, it'd
be like a non-crying.
What happens if the guns that the guests have, are they real bullets, right? They're blowing away the robots. What's keeping them from...
I have no idea.
From accidentally blowing away somebody that's another guest and they just didn't realize.
Well, my assumption is that it is some kind of charge of some kind, and it either... I don't know.
Some people get hit and then they fall and they go, owie, But it has something to do with like the further out you go, you're like volunteering for the potential for physical abuse, but there's still cardinal rules, like it can't leave a mark. Like maybe that's what I'm hearing alluded to.
That doesn't seem from the show. I'm just watching as a fan, but people get punched. Like what happens there?
But I feel like it's like Ed Harris's character is out there. But by the way, I know there's this huge there's these reveals and shit that I'm not talking about. But so I'm steering clear of spoilers, but saying like it seems like the Ed Harris character was like going further and further out, where it was like they can punch you in the face, and they can knock you unconscious. You can tell the writers when you go back to work. Like I could use a little more clarity on that. No, I'm kidding. They have their thing going. Okay. So let's. Do you
want me to? He's gone.
I believe I can fly.
He's gone.
I believe I can touch
Eddie.
Do you want me to tell you the very quick version of the other side of that Kenyan story?
Yes, the Kenyan government side.
Yeah, before I was born, my father worked for the CIA.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Turns out my father was the Bernie Madoff of Kenya. Oh, no. And I didn't find that out until 2012 when information came out that plant that he was supposedly had built, the Kenyan government was making payments on it for 30 years to a Brussels company, a shell company, So the entire thing was a scam.
Oh my
They
God.
scammed the entire country.
The
and
only
that's
thing
my
that would make this
father.
story good would be if it was in Nigeria.
What?
That your dad's job was to scam Nigerians. Never mind. All right.
Oh,
yeah,
now I understand it. Yeah.
But so his job. So that was a CIA
your dad-
operation. Was
We
just
don't.
to-
I don't know. We don't know.
So when they threatened your lives,
He's dead.
they had reason to because they
Exactly.
your
And
dad
there are
was-
and some of this came out with WikiLeaks has. Why am I talking about this?
Are we all
to
going
learn about your dad
is there
from
gonna be
WikiLeaks?
Is there going to be a drone strike on Harmontown?
No. But they have the embassy recordings. They have the transcripts of like when he had to go to the embassy to try to hide. So they had like Ken Slokum. Why am I saying the name? But they have those transcripts of like when he was like what the actual American interaction with this guy who was.
So he gave you your name is like it's like a spy operation like Ptolemy. Like it's like
that might be the key to the entire my name. I might have it in me.
Yeah, I think your name is like a password in some vault. Where
Right.
First, I have to do sexy laser hopscotch, and then when I get to the thing, I'm like, "There's a password." Ptolemy.
Yeah, I put my like hand on it,
Yeah.
or they realize like it's inside me, some kind of Horcrux, and they have to kill me to get it out.
Oh my God! Like
Yeah.
your scalp has a maze on it.
It's a show, right? You understand? It's like a fiction. It's a fiction.
Yeah, no, I don't think your scalp has a show has a maze on it.
No, it's getting a little bit like one of those 70s movies where you don't know how it's going to end. And I'm slightly concerned.
By the way, if that scalp maze doesn't turn out to come to some use, some
Right.
navigational purpose, I want some of my HBO money back. Like if he doesn't pull that scalp back out and go like, well, we should be about in the middle. We're right by the eyebrow, the back side of the eyebrow.